flipping to the news, they're talking about judicial review tonight.
Alright. Yeah, I think I learned about that in class.
Yes, when the Supreme Court looks at the Constitution and decides on an important matter.
What's the case about?
It was Grutter versus Bollinger. And Grutter argued that the University of Michigan, represented by Bollinger, was using an unconstitutional way of accepting people onto their law school. They were using affirmative action.
Hasn't affirmative action been around for a while?
Yeah, since President Johnson.
What exactly is it again?
It's when a school or a profession accepts or hire people because of a certain race or gender.
Sounds interesting.
Turn that up, it just came on.
Hello, and good evening. Tonight we'll be focusing on the Supreme Court, in specific, the case of Grutter versus Bollinger. This case revolved around affirmative action, which can be traced all the way back to Lyndon B. Johnson in an executive order. Affirmative action is when a school or profession gives a minority a plus factor in accepting them into the school or giving them a job in their profession. Barbara Grutter sued the Michigan Law School because she felt that the affirmative action program used in their school was against her 14th Amendment right. She felt that this was against her right because the 14th Amendment states that all citizens should have equal protection under the law. She felt that if they choose race, have race help them in accepting their students, that this breaks her right. In the end, the Supreme Court decided 5-4 in favor of the university, allowing them to continue using affirmative action in accepting their students. Justice Sandra Day O'Connor wrote the majority opinion. She said that student body diversity is a compelling state interest that can justify the use of race in university admissions. The benefits of diversity are not theoretical but real. The court continued. The opinion as a major American business have made clear that the skills needed in today's increasingly global marketplace can only be developed through exposure to widely diverse people, cultures, ideas, and viewpoints. However, the court insisted that truly individualized consideration demands that race be used in a flexible, non-mechanical way. Universities cannot establish quotas for members of certain racial groups or put members of those groups on separate admission tracks. Nor can universities insulate applicants who belong to certain racial or ethnic groups from the competition for admission. Universities can, however, consider race or ethnicity more flexibly as a plus factor in the context of individualized consideration of each and every applicant. A much more opinionated dissent written by Justice Clarence Thomas stated that every time the government places citizens on racial registers and makes race relevant to the provision of burdens or benefits, it demeans us all. Justice Thomas said in dissent opinion that Justice Scalia also signed. Not only was the Supreme Court justices greatly opinionated and differentiated on this opinion, but also experts gave their views on the matters. Some arguments for affirmative action were that it helps reach out to minorities. They said that it would give minorities chances to lead better lives than they would without affirmative action. They said that in the end, people who got helped by this affirmative action program have better jobs and have better wages, helping the economy and helping society as a whole. Also, it helps all students by making them aware of all different types of society and peoples. This means that when they are out of school, they are very used to seeing all these different types of people and societies in their life and can more easily accept them and be more readily aware of them to work with them. There was also arguments against affirmative action. These were that the affirmative action programs were very outdated. They felt that they did not apply to schools today, nor were they needed in acceptance of students today. Also, they felt that it breaks the 14th Amendment right. It feels that it outweighs the equal protection under the law, which is clearly stated in the 14th Amendment. Grutter versus Bollinger was a case taken very seriously on a national level. It will affect us all every day, and we should all realize that what the Supreme Court decides affects us all. Thank you, Jake Kirk reporting.
That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I read some of the expert opinions. I think the judges did a good job.
Yeah.
I think that they based their decision off of the Constitution and decided that it was the best for minorities to be represented in schools, not only for the betterment of the minority, but by society as a whole.
How for the whole society?
Because it will expose all people to all the different kinds of cultures and societies that when they get into the real working world, they will be used to differences, and this will make it easier for them to work next with them and focus on work instead of their differences.
Sweet.